Happy Hanukkah and Chodesh Tov. Today is Rosh Chodesh Tevet. Last night was the darkest night of the year. It was the new moon, where the moon is not visible, there's no moonlight, and is the closest to this winter solstice, when the nights are long and the days are short. So it's really the darkest time of year. And what did we do? We lit candles. We brought light into the darkness. This is what the month of Tevet is really all about, is bringing light to the darkness. And there's not just Hanukkah, there's another day in Tevet that personifies this theme of bringing light to the darkness. And there's a tension between these two. We have Hanukkah, where on the one hand we bring light to the darkness, we lit the menorah, and we celebrate Hanukkah by lighting candles and singing, Hallel and Hoda'ah. It's a day of great joy. And what's not to celebrate? We brought light to the darkness. At the same time, we also have the day of the 10th of Tevet, which is one of the fast days in the same series of fast days as the 17th of Tammuz and Tisha B'Av, which was part of the destruction of the temple. In addition, we also commemorate on the 10th of Tevet the translation of the Torah into Greek. In the days of Ptolemy, he under threat, had the 70 members of the Sanhedrin separated, each into their own room, and they all had to translate the Torah. And the miracle happened, and they translated, each of the 70 translated exactly the same. This is what's called the Targum Shivim, the Septuagint. So authoritative was this translation into Greek that if you have a Sefer Torah written on cloth, it has, in Greek, it has the Kedusha of a Sefer Torah. You can read from it in Shul, and you have to stand up for it. It has all of the same laws as a Sefer Torah, and it's written in Greek. So this is also a tremendous act of bringing light to the darkness. And yet we don't celebrate. Instead, we mourn and we fast. Why should that be? So I think that this dichotomy, these two approaches to bringing light to the darkness, are personified in our Parshiot by Yosef and Yehuda. Yosef is a person who, wherever he goes, he gets involved in things, and he brings his value and brings the Torah into the world. And he gets involved in the Egyptian government. He gets involved in the administration of the prison. He gets involved in the administration of affairs in Potiphar's house. Wherever he goes, he gets involved in the administration of affairs, and he wants to do things in the right way and bring the Torah values that he got from his father, from Yaakov Avinu, and bring them into the world in whatever setting he is in. This is one kind of Jewish identity. And we see this a lot today, that people's core sense of what does it mean to be Jewish is about bringing light to the darkness, that we have to bring our Torah values of whatever they may be, of stewardship, of justice, of taking care of the less fortunate, of tzedakah, all of the things that we believe in as Jews, and bringing them to the world. And that's and we do that, and that's one way of bringing light to the darkness, and we celebrate that, and we see that as a great success, and such that a Greek Sefer Torah is really a Sefer Torah. That's Yosef. Yehuda, on the other hand, sees Klal Yisrael not in terms of values and ideals, but sees us as we're a particular group, we're a family, a socio-ethnic group that has this unique, distinct essence, which cannot ever be dissolved. And no matter how deeply involved we get in the larger culture, we need to remain distinct, because we have a destiny that is set exclusively for us, and that we have laws that are exclusively for us, and we are separate and distinct. And that if you translate the Torah into contemporary meaning, you give the world today meaning from the Torah, that's great, Yosef. That's wonderful. But if you happen to think that Septuagint is the original, you've fablunged, you've lost. So much is lost in translation, so much is lost that it's maybe vital to bring the Torah into the modern day. But you have to remember that our destiny is encapsulated in not for today, but for the day when we will fulfill the Torah and all of its precepts in the original. And we need to stay distinct. And that's why Yaakov, when he was preparing for the Klal Yisrael to go down into Egypt, sent Yehuda ahead, Goshna. He sent Yehuda to prepare the way, that we would remain distinct, to remain mitsuyanim, that we would remain separate from this, even though we were getting involved, even though Yosef was second to the king. So these two dynamics are both present in the month of Tevet, in the celebration of Hanukkah and in the morning of the Asara B'Tevet, and together they summarize really the essence of what does it mean to be a contemporary Jew.